So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can create this budget sheet right here in Excel with a monthly income sheet so you can see what's coming in, and it's going to automatically reflect over here on your budget sheet. Okay, so we're going to start off with a blank sheet. The first thing we want to do is create a header sheet. So we're going to click on this number 1. We're going to right click and then we're going to say row height. Over here, we're going to input a number of 40. So that should give us a pretty good height so we can create the header. So now what we want to do is merge from A to E in one big box. So you're going to click on this first one, hold the mouse button down and drag across all the way to E. Let go. Now you want to go up to here where it says merge and center. Click on that one. And now this is one big cell for the header section. So up here, we're going to type home and budget. And we want that text to look a little bit bigger. So let's try, say 28. So now the text is standing out. So we're going to go down here and we're going to create all these other sections. So first, let's try to make this thing about the full length of the sheet. Now these dotted lines that you see right here is the end of the sheet. So that means if anything ends over here in H, it's going to end up on page 2. And if you don't see the dotted line on your sheet, all you have to do is go up to File, Print, and then instead of printing, just click Cancel, and that will bring up the dotted lines. So this area is going to be where I'm going to place all the items in this column right here. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to say width. And then I'm going to make this 25 because that will give me enough room to write all the stuff in between. And here we're going to put the date. This one we're going to say 14 because the date column doesn't need all that much. Over here we're going to right click again and then we're going to say 19. So what you're doing is right clicking, choosing column width, and then you're typing in the number. And then we're going to go to E, column width, and then we're going to say 19 again. Okay, so when we enter the width for E, we found out that it's over the dotted lines. And like I said, anything that passed the dotted lines right here is going to end up on page 2. So what we're going to do is adjust the page. So make sure you're on page layout and then you'll go into orientation and then you want to do landscape. So that will fix that issue right there. Now we're going to set up the height of the rows. So we're going to skip one row right here just to give a gap between the header and the next section. So we're going to go here and then we're going to make these 25. So we're going to do the rest of these, but we're not going to do them one by one. So we're going to click here and then we go all the way down to say 20. To select all of this, you're going to click on the first box. You hold the shift key on your keyboard and press on the number 20, which is going to select all of those. So now all you have to do is click here, row height, and type in 25. So we'll probably could do one more because we still have enough headroom between here and the dotted lines. So let's make this one also 25. There we go. Now we're all the way down to the bottom and we don't have to worry about anything leaking over to the other page. Okay, so now we're going to go back up to 3A, 3 and A. And then we're going to type in here, what's in the bank. All right, and then we're going to go to home and then we want to center it by clicking the center button right here. And this column is where we're going to put the amount. Right here, we're going to type balance. And then we're going to go up here and click align right. And here is where we're going to put the amount. Okay, so now we're going to do the rest of the section, but we're going to make a little adjustment. So on number 4, we're going to go row height, and then we're going to put this one back to 16. Because we don't need a lot of gap between this and the next section. We just want enough room to make it seem like they're not sticking together. So on number 5A, what we're going to type is items. And now we're going to go across all the way over here and type the rest of the stuff. To get to the next box, all you have to do is click tab on your keyboard. Then we're going to type in your due date. And we're going to tab across amount due. Tab across again, paid. Tab across again, remain due. So now we got all the little header for our page. So this is where we're going to put the items like electric bill, light bill, water bill, whatever it is that you need to pay. And of course, we're going to put the due date here, the amount due, and if you paid anything, like if you pay partial payment, then it's going to show the remaining due over here, or it's going to say zero balance. Okay, so now we're going to go down to 21A. And when I say the number, I'm talking about the column and then the row. And right here, we're going to type totals. We're going to put that in the right. So we're going to align right. And then we're going to go across to here. And then we're going to have the amount add up. That's amount due. And then we're going to have a total of the amount paid and a total of the amount remaining. So we're going to do all those calculations in a minute. So right now what we're trying to do is create the sheet and design it. Okay, so now let's format the date column. So you want to click on that 6B and you want to go all the way down to 20B, hold the shift and click, which is going to highlight all of those. Then we're going to go up here where it says general, drop down menu. There's all kind of dates you can put, short date, long date, but I want you to go down to more numbers formats. And then we're going to click on dates. So the date I'm looking for is the one that shows the day, the month, and the full year. So let's scroll all the way down till we find that one. Here it is right here. So we're going to click OK. So now all you have to do is just type the date / whatever. So if I type 3/2, for instance, it's going to show the full amount. But don't just type the numbers, because if you just type the number and don't put the slash, it's going to end up like this. Now we're going to put in the amount. Now for the amount section, we have two different options. We can put currency and accounting, and that's actually two different formats based on which one you choose. One is going to show the $ far out. So let's put in a number in there. We're going to put 10. And then we're going to choose currency. So as you can see, it puts the 10 and the $, then, you know, percentage after. Now, if you choose accounting, it actually put the $ further away to the other end. So the one we want is accounting. And the reason why we're using accounting, because when there's nothing there, we want it to be this little dash. And if you use the currency, it's going to leave these 000, but we just want it to be blank to help with the readability of the sheet. We also want to get rid of the $. So we're going to go back to accounting, and then we go all the way down to where it says format. And again, where it says here, we're going to say symbol none. And then we're going to click OK. So that takes a symbol away, but we know that something goes here based on the amount. So if we say 100, then it says there. If there's 0, it just blanks out like that. And like I said, that's going to help with the readability instead of having the 000 here, because if there's just a dash right here, for instance, and then you got a number here, you know that the dash means I have nothing remain. And over here, you would notice that you have something remaining. So now we're going to make all these remaining cells just the same. So since we already have this one highlighted right here, if it's not, make sure you click on it. We're going to go all the way down to here, put your cursor right here, hold the shift and click. And we're going to go back to accounting again, click on it one time. And then we're going to go all the way down to more format. Then we're going to say none. And then we're going to click OK. So all of these boxes, even though they're not reflecting anything right now, does have the same format like this one that we just created. Okay, so now let's go up to where it says what's in the bank, and the next cell beside it, which is B3. We're going to click here, and the format for this one is going to be currency instead of accounting. because this section up here is singular and it's not going to be as confusing with down here where it has all this dollar sign with the 000. And now we're going to move over to the next one that says E3, which is beside balance, and we're going to also make that one currency. Now we're going to jump down to the bottom where it says total. Under the column that says amount due, we're going to go all the way down to total, and then we're going to make that one also currency. Even though we made it accounting earlier, don't worry about that, we're just changing the format. And then we're going to make this one currency, and this one over here currency. Okay, so this sheet is almost ready to go. The only thing we have to do now is put in the calculations. So the calculations are going to go in this section right here where it says remain due. It's going to go down here where it says totals, and then we're going to have a calculation for this right here where it says what's in the bank, and then we're going to have a calculation for balance. Okay, so what we're going to do now is start with the remaining due. We're going to put in those calculations first. So you want to go up here where it says FX. Now, depending on what system you're on, I'm on the Mac, but on the Windows, the pop-up box ends up in the middle of the screen. On the Mac, it seems to pop up over here on the right side. So what you want to look for is the one that says sum. So you want to click on that one, and then you want to click insert function. And basically it's going to pop up like this, but this is not the calculation we want. You're going to clear out that box if there's anything in it. And then you're going to click here, and then you put a minus sign by clicking the dash on your keyboard. And then you're going to click on this one over here. And that's going to be the right calculation that you need. So if there's 100 due, it's going to say 100 remaining. Now if I pay 50, it's going to show half of that. So that's the calculation you want at all times. So let's clear that out. So therefore, what we're going to do is repeat this all the way down on each column. So the easy way to do this is to move over to where you see this little small square dot right here. And when it turned the cursor into this black cross, you want to click and hold and then drag all the way down. And stop before you get to total. And now you want to do the same thing for the page section. So you go all the way over till it turns to a black cross. Then you want to click and drag all the way down before you get to totals. And the last column is remaining due. So we're going to do the same thing. Go over till you get the black cross, click, drag all the way down till you get to totals, or before you get to total, I should say. So now all of these are set up for the same calculation. Okay, now we're going to do the one for the totals. So we're going to go to this first total box for each column, amount due, paid, and remaining due. And we're going to do the same thing. So you click on function, sum, insert function, and then you want to get rid of that stuff that pops up in the box. And this time what we want to do is have the total of the amount due. So we're going to click on this first box. It's going to have the marching ants, and then we're going to hold the shift key on your keyboard and click on that last box right before the totals. And that's going to add up everything that's in that column. Click enter. So you see we got a zero amount because there's nothing in there right now. Now to create the calculation for the rest of these columns over here, what you want to do is repeat the same thing like you did with the column going down. You want to do the same thing for this row. So you go over here till it turns to the black cross, and then you just drag across. Click and drag, and then stop. Okay, so now this part of the sheet is totally ready to go. Okay, so now we're going to do the balance calculation. The balance calculation is going to be based on what's in the bank and how much paid. So we want to click on the function, choose sum, insert, and then we're going to say what's in the bank, which is the amount is going to be here. We're going to fix that in a minute, which is B3. And then we want to click minus, and then what's paid, which is this box down here, the total paid. So there we go. And then we're going to click enter. So say we have 5,000 in the bank. It's going to show that on the balance. So now let's give this sheet a test to make sure it's working since we got this far. So we're going to say the first thing due is car payment. Then you're going to click the tab to move over to the next section. And then we're going to type in the due date, say the 5th of the month. We're going to click tab again. and the amount due is, I don't know, say 250. So now you can see it's showing the amount due and the remaining due because I haven't paid anything yet, and the calculation is showing up at the bottom. There's nothing affecting the balance yet because there's nothing paid. So now let's pay the full amount just to get it out the way. So now we have a total pay at the bottom and a total amount due. There's nothing remaining, so that's blank. And as you can see, the balance is reflected now based on what was in the bank. So as you can see, everything is working fine, and I can keep adding items to the list and the amount and everything that's due. So let's say electric bill. That's due on the 7th. Tab. The amount due is 120. And as you can see, I got the amount, I got the remaining due, and all the totals, and everything is working fine. So now let's just do some finessing. So we're going to click on this first box, and then of course, shift, go all the way across. We're going to change this background area to a deep black. That's pretty good. Then we're going to change the color of the font by clicking over here to yellow, just to make it pop out a little bit. So now you can see the difference of the text. So that's kind of like a highlighted thing. We're going to do the same thing for the header section of each column right here. And we're going to change that one to, we're going to change the same black. So we're going to go here, but this time we're going to make the text say blue. Or it's too light. Let's make it white. So there you go. Now it's standing out a little bit more. So you can tell this is my top area right here, and this is this section right here. So it stands out a little bit, and you can change it to whatever color you want. We're going to go down here to the total section and do the same thing. Click here, shift all the way across. We're going to change that to the same color, and then we're going to make this one also yellow. So now you can tell the difference from the what's in the bank section, the header section of each column, and the totals. Now the next cosmetic thing we're going to do to the sheet is to create like a easy way of reading this whole thing instead of having it all the same color, the same white background. It's going to make it a little bit easier to read the sheet because you can see that separation based on the shading. So what you want to do is click on this first one that says electric bill, or whatever you have in that section, number 7. And then of course you're going to hold the shift, go all the way across here and click. And then we're going to go up here to this section right here, and we're going to choose the lightest color we can find, the lightest gray, which is this one right here. And as you can see, just by doing that, you can see there's a difference between this row and that row, and your eye can gravitate to it. So we're going to do the same thing to all the odd numbers. So now when you look at the sheet, you can tell a difference between this row and that row. And like I said, your eye can easily gravitate to it based on the shade of the color. Okay, so one more thing we're going to add to this budget sheet that we just created in Excel. We're going to create another section that has the monthly incomes. So we're going to click on the G column, and then we're going to say width is going to be 25. And over here on the H, we're going to right click, and the width is going to be 19. Now we're going to create the header section just like we did over here on the home budget. So we're going to click on this box right here, shift H, and then we're going to merge, which is right here, merge and center. And then we're going to type in monthly incomes. Then we're going to go down to the next section down here. We're going to do a little separation. So basically we're trying to create the same kind of design like this over here on this section of the spreadsheet. So then we're going to go down to this cell right here, and we're going to type in sources. We're going to tab over, and then we're going to type in amounts. So then we're going to highlight this section right here like we did over here on this side. We're going to click on this right here, and then we're going to make this also yellow. So we're going to click on that text. We're going to go all the way down to the bottom right here, and then we're going to put totals like we did on the other side, and then we're going to tab over, and this is where the amount is going to be. Now for this cell right here, we're going to make this currency. So we're going to go up, we're going to click on currency. As a matter of fact, this entire column is going to be currency. So we can click here, hold shift, click again, go up here and change it to currency. So now what we want to do is to create a calculation. So we're going to go up to here and click function, sum, insert function. I want to click on this first one right here until you see the marching ants. Hold shift and go all the way down before you get to totals, and then click enter. Let's move the totals over a little bit by aligning it to the right here. Okay, so now let's put some information here so we can see if it's actually going to do the totals right here. And the totals that end up here is going to also reflect over here. So I'm going to show you how to fix that in a minute. So first we're going to say we have 2 checks. Maybe we work 2 jobs. So we're going to say check 1. Now, if you notice, when I tabbed over, it copied the format from this section over here. And that's not what I really want. So click back over here on this cell, make sure you're on the home tab, and then go all the way over to where it says clear. Click that drop down menu and you want to clear format. And that will take away that format that's copied from over here. Now we're going to put in the amount. Say your first check, you make $750. So as you can see, the total is showing up at the bottom. But we also want this total right here to reflect what's in the bank. Now, of course, you're going to always have a starting balance. So I want you to go back over here and either above here or below here, you're going to put in starting balance. So let's put it up top. And then we're going to tab over and then we're going to put in the amount. Now, right now it says we got 5,000 in the bank. So let's use that as a starting balance. Then we're going to click back over here and then we're going to change this to currency. Okay, so what we need to do now is to add this balance to the totals down here. But we're going to leave this total right here and leave the starting balance separated. So what we're going to do is delete what's in this box by hitting the delete key. So what we're going to do is go up to function. We're going to make sure we're on the sum. We're going to insert function. We're going to click on start and balance. We're going to click plus on the keyboard and then we're going to click the totals and then we're going to say enter. So if you have 10,000 in the bank and you put it here, it's going to also reflect based on what's in the bank. So if your starting balance adjusted for the next month, then you can just type it here and it will show what's in the bank plus anything else that's coming in, like a paycheck, for instance. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to actually move this starting balance down here to stay with the numbers, for instance. So click on this box right here, hold shift, go all the way across, and then right click, and then we're going to do cut. And then we're going to click on this first box, right click, and then we're going to do paste. The calculation will automatically update itself based on where the actual amount is now. So you don't have to do any recalculation. But I think it looks better down here than up here because it's staying with the numbers. And then it won't affect what's coming in. So you can see all the checks coming in, but your starting balance is not being affected. As a matter of fact, let's highlight that by clicking on the first box, going all the way across, and then we're gonna change this to say a greenish color to kind of like separate it from the checks and anything else that's coming in. Now, usually we get 2 checks a month. You know, there's some months where there's 3 checks, but we're gonna based on the 2 check method. So we're gonna say check number 2, and it's pretty much gonna be the same amount unless something changed, like you work overtime. And then you might have a little part-time job that you do twice a week. So we're going to say check 3. And you can name the checks whatever you want to. Say you work at State Farm or you work at McDonald's. You can say whatever that place that you work checks. Instead of saying check 1, check 2, check 3, like I'm doing right now. This is an example. And my part-time job, I make $250. And then on the second check, I make number 4, another $250. I might have a little side gig that I do on the weekend, and I'm gonna say side gig, and that makes me for the entire month maybe $500. And then you can keep adding all your incomes that's coming in, disability check or alimony or anything else. But as you can see, as I keep adding stuff to the list, it keeps updating the total, and over here the total is being updated also. So as you keep adding stuff to the items that need to be paid out, then you know it's going to calculate the difference and update it over here. So the entire budget sheet is working right now, and you can see the difference between what's going out and what's coming in all on one sheet. So let me do one more thing over here. Let's update this over here. I think this is 28 to make it look as big as this over here. Yep, that's 28. So this is 28. So okay, so as you can see, the sheet is pretty much complete. There's really nothing else that need to be done, but just a little formatting. So let me go down here and format this one like I have the rest, dark and yellow. So now it's all pretty much matching up from your home budget and your monthly incomes. Now let's do a little formatting up here also. So we're going to click on this, and then we're going to go over here, choose the lightest gray. So as you can see, now it's easy for you to read because of this little shaded section right here to make it easier on your eyes to focus on that row. Okay, so this is the end of this tutorial on the home budget sheet, which also shows your monthly incomes. And there's other things I can actually add to the sheet, like a drop down list for the items instead of having you typing them over and over again. And also, if anything goes in the negative, it'll show up in red instead of the regular color that you're seeing right here. Okay, so that's going to be it for this tutorial. I want to thank you for taking the time for watching it. If you like it, go and give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Have a good one, and I'll see you next time.